is Tiffany Lachnidt with the Distinctive Group at Keller Williams here in Colorado Springs. And I'm here with my friend Scott, who has some questions for me about what it means to be a buyer or a seller in our market. We are in July and things are changing a little bit, but not as much as some people think they might. So, Scott, if you want to fire away and ask me anything you like.
I know. I'm excited to be here, Tiffany. Thanks for going live with me and being on. I know there's a lot of questions in your market right now. And I know that in Colorado Springs, we've seen, there's been some frenzy of people thinking the market's shifting or whatever. So why don't you address a little bit what you've seen, what's going on in the market right now that we're late July, going into August, we're getting towards the end of the summer here.
Yeah, we're starting to see some price corrections. In the last 24 hours, actually, we had 77 price reductions and we had 77 new listings hit the market, but we also had 41 go pending. So I'm starting to see some people putting reports out saying that, the end is near and, the market's starting to really correct. I mean, being a little facetious there, but I don't think we're necessarily seeing a suddenly shift into a buyer's market. I think we still have incredibly low inventory and we have an incredibly strong market. Seeing double-digit quarter appreciation, appreciation in a quarter is probably not happening right now, but we are still in a strong seller market. But the good news is seeing some of this relief in the inventory is creating an environment where buyers can actually get into houses, because over the last couple of years, we've had some frustration with people that are writing on 3, 4, 5 houses and just missing out on multiple offers. We are still getting multiple offers, but the number we're getting is greatly reduced, so that it's creating a little bit more healthy environment for buyers that are in the market.
Yeah, I mean, overall, that sounds kind of like a good thing, where it's not like 10, 12, 15 offers where people are just frustrated and not even attempting, where now it's more like, there may be a few offers, but at least they're in there to compete. So as a seller in the market, what would you say if people are still thinking like this is a good time? What would they need to be doing to, stand out essentially above maybe the other properties that are out there?
In this strong seller's market, in some ways it was easier to be a seller because you could put a really ugly property with major conditions out there and it would sell. But the rules of the game still haven't changed. The way the property is presented, the condition it's in, how well or how poorly it's priced, really still has a massive impact on what the seller is going to walk away with. And strategically listing and strategically pricing and getting your condition where it needs to be is still going to end up netting and selling faster. One of the odd phenomena that we saw in this market is that if a seller missed the price by even $5,000 to $10,000, buyers just were not making offers because they figured seller just went active. There's no way they're going to take a penny under asking price, so they ended up sitting. So pricing correctly and getting as close as you can to the right number in this market, at the end of the day, is still going to help net a seller more money. And I'm seeing buyers buy condition more than I've ever seen before with what they're offering. So if you have a really pretty property, they're willing to pay top dollar. If it's not perfect, they're really a little more picky, and especially on inspection.
So let's get a little bit more specific, Tiffany, about some areas where you're seeing like a lot of movement. So talk to us about Colorado Springs a little bit, and what neighborhoods or communities you're seeing a lot of stuff going on and a lot of action happening still right now in this market.
Yeah, Colorado Springs, our market itself, just as a whole, not just real estate, has transitioned a lot in the last 5 years. We used to have a really tough time keeping millennials here, and now we actually have one of the fastest growing millennial populations in the country, which is great for our job market. It's great for the housing market, and it's great for business owners like myself because we're finding more talent come in than we ever have before. That being said, we have a significant housing shortage, and I don't foresee that housing shortage going away anytime in the near future because our population is booming so much. So, everybody says the shift is coming. It's very possible we'll have some shift come, but really our demand is continuing to drive prices. Anything under about $650. When you start to get into the higher price points, we have a little bit more inventory, but again, one of the big challenges is our inventory is not good. In some of these price points is houses are overpriced, they don't show well, and buyers just won't settle, especially when you start getting into the higher price points. So making sure your condition is really good, both in your marketing and in person, is really going to be critical for sellers in every price point to get their top dollar, or even for that matter, just to get sold in the higher price points.
So is there anything else that you think is really relevant right now that, whether a buyer's watching right now and they're considering getting in, or a seller, like what would you say to them right now? Is there anything else you want to tell them or or voice to them about this market and what they should be doing?
Yeah, weather's a big factor for us right now. Anybody who's watched some of the national news, we've had some flooding and we've had some massive hail damage hit some of our areas. So as a seller and as a buyer, making sure those conditions are seen and addressed before closing is really going to be key. Buyers are coming in and they're nervous about hail damage, and sellers need to make sure they're giving that clean bill of health to buyers before they come into it. That being said, buyers need to make sure they know what to watch for. Especially in some of the areas with floods like Manitou Springs and Fountain Valley that are having some issues with that, knowing to make sure that mold was mitigated correctly and things like that. So we've had some pretty significant damage done to our neighborhoods. We had some areas where hail actually blew holes straight through ceilings. So I think making sure that the house you're buying or the house you're selling has been taken care of post-storm, which are right now rolling in almost every day, is a big deal.
So if someone wants to, if someone's watching right now and they're like, I want to get in the market and do something, what's the best course of action for them to get in touch with you? And what's the next step essentially?
Reach out to us. Either you can reach out to us through Facebook, through email. You're welcome to call us. We've got all of our phone numbers here on this page as well. The best thing is to reach out to us, and then we'll get you connected with a lender, so that you can get your financing all figured out. Interest rates are the other thing that's becoming a factor in the market. We're jumping up a little bit. I think we've probably seen the end of the 3% interest rates, but they're not terrible. They did jump up, into the high fours. We're floating between 4.5 and 4.75 right now. Another reason to jump in the market right now is that inventory's bumping up a little bit, so you have a little more to choose from, and get in before those interest rates go up, because if they do go up higher, it's going to start to really negatively impact people's purchase power.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much, Tiffany, for answering all the questions. I think it's gonna be really helpful for a lot of people out there in Colorado Springs, and we'll see you guys next time.
Sounds great. Thanks, Scott.